Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Michaelis Ladybug, New Powerpuff Girls, Starburst, The Force of Evil, and Ruby. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Mel Moyer.
Yay!
And Allie Martin.
Hello.
Today, those were subdued introductions. I don't know what that was, but
What are you talking about?
Unenthusiastic. Today, Mel, Allie, and I will be looking back on the 1991 Disney classic Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. Mel's favorite movie. Lots to talk about. Hype for this. We thought this would be a good time to get into this in honor of the recent live action trailer released. We'll talk about that at the end, I guess, if we have some time. But yeah, this is we sometimes look back on older animated films here at the Overly Animated Podcast. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com or search for the Overly Animated Podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher. We haven't done too many of the classic. I think this might be our first classic Disney one. We do old Pixar ones, but hopefully this will be the first of a few. And why not start with arguably the best one, but we'll talk about that. And yeah, so this is a retrospective, not a review. So let me set up like where I want to start the discussion. So what I want to know is, what is your history with Beauty and the Beast? When did you first watch it? What did you think of it? When did you recently watch it? Which is for Mel and I, like literally just watched it. And I watched this yesterday or 2 days ago. So there's that answer. And what did you think of it upon most recent rewatch? So Mel, history with Beauty and the Beast, and then most recent impressions.
We have a long time. As a kid, it obviously was the first time I watched it back in the good old days of VHS. And I remember not being super into it when I first watched it until I saw Disney on Ice or something. It was Disney on Ice in like elementary school, and they did Beauty and the Beast. And like, for whatever reason, like I got the story better on the Disney on Ice version. I was like, oh, this is great. And then I went back and rewatched it. I was like, this is great. And I've seen the Broadway show and stuff. Like I'm very, very biased when it comes to this movie. And it's difficult to like talk about like opinions based on most recent rewatch because I watched this movie a lot.
Most recent few times you have seen it, what did you think?
I mean, and obviously it gets to a point where there's parts of it, as with every movie, where you're like, oh, like I want to skip this, or this is the part where I don't pay attention as much, or like this is kind of like the weaker points. But I mean, it's still like freaking lose my mind over this movie every time I watch it. I love it. I can't stop myself.
So this, in summary,
which is totally objective.
Yeah. In conclusion, this is Mel's fave, and
yeah,
yes, keep that in mind. Like this is Mel's fave, so she's gonna have strong opinions.
If you didn't know by now, it's going to be mentioned like probably for the whole however long this is going to be going on.
I mean, I will. Okay, let's talk about that. That'll be my next topic. Is like, why is this your fave? So let's hold off on that. Allie, history with this movie, and what do you think just now when you rewatched it?
I mean, it's basically the same as Mel. Like, I watched it not when it came out, but like when I was a kid.
You weren't born when it came out.
Not when it came out, but when I was a kid. And I also remembered, I don't remember like being crazy about it because I was like 3, but like I remember liking it when I like was conscious enough to remember. And I also saw it on Broadway, apparently, but I don't remember. It's not my favorite one, but it's up there. I don't know if I have like a favorite now, but it's like it's definitely in the top 5. And watching it again, like Mel, I watch Disney movies all the time, so I like also have this one memorized. So it's like it's the same. It's great.
Nice.
I really like it. Yeah. We're gonna talk about the new one later, right?
Yeah, we'll hold off on the live action comments. Yeah. The debate about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, because I like this one.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've seen this movie before. I don't know what that is. I've seen this movie before. I don't remember like when I saw this. I assume I was very young, so I haven't seen this in quite a while. But a lot of the aspects of this film are like part of pop culture. So I somehow knew that Be Our Guest was coming when it was coming. It's like I'm familiar with enough of it. So yeah, I don't have a lot of bias with this. I don't have a super high regard for Disney classics.
Dylan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw the movie before you like recently watched it?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. It's over 10 years. Over 10 years.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's surprising.
Right. So I didn't remember a lot of it.
Oh, that's interesting.
But I rewatched it, and I was skeptical because, like going in, because this is like from the early '90s, and it's a Disney classic, and sometimes have trouble with older films, and I
emphasis on the word classic.
Yeah, you are not good with watching older.
I'm not good,
media.
especially live action. So animation.
I didn't know that about you.
I struggle with older stuff. I don't know. That's a deeper discussion, but
Jesus.
I don't mean that in any.
I know
why you're laughing at that, but
no, it's just interesting. I didn't peg you as that way.
So, but yeah, no, I thought I was very impressed upon this viewing. I think that there's a lot of aspects of this which are so much better than what I remember of other Disney films and other, a lot of other stuff. Yeah. I think Mel was ready to come in defensive, but I'm going to be pretty effusive towards this movie. So.
I didn't know what you're.
Well, it's
what
like
you
the
were
Incredibles
say,
one.
so
I think you were ready,
yeah.
but no, I love the.
I was like ready for you to be like, oh, it wasn't as great as everyone says it was, and you're like, no, actually, like it's a perfect film.
Yeah,
The Incredibles.
That was what the Incredibles. Basically a perfect film. Yeah, I would say what I'd say about Beauty and the Beast is that what impressed me the most is that kind of the last half hour of this movie is literally perfect.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Which I didn't expect. That a Disney film would have the narrative just flows so seamlessly, combining all the elements.
The interesting thing about that is that this was the first time an animated film ever used a screenplay.
It had a script. Yeah, I read the Wikipedia. And, yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before that, it was basically just pitching.
But think of
storyboards.
Think of like Steven Universe. It's a storyboard oriented thing. They don't have a strict script. They just have an outline. So they still do that. But it's for some animation. But yeah, the last you clearly benefited. The ending of this movie is kind of perfect. Like even the Gaston stuff ties together super well. It's so impressive. Yeah. There's a few sequences in this film which are kind of flawless. Obviously the ballroom scene. It's really incredible.
The only thing that isn't flawless is just Adam in the end. Like you could have made better.
Well, and I guess we'll get to that chronologically. But the thing is they were running out of time, so they kind of.
That I didn't know either.
Because the last shot of this movie is actually reused animation from Sleeping
I'm gonna
Beauty.
get a lot of new perspective.
Listen, you want me at your bar trivia night?
Mel will tell us everything. Yeah,
I think I do. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it's, the other highlight, Be Our Guest is an incredible sequence. Arguably one of the best Disney song sequence, I would say. Like, I don't think it's like the best song, but just the visuals during it in combination with its usage and everything like that, I think is really incredible. I don't think it's like a perfect movie. I was just talking about this. We're recording this right after our Moana review, which is up. I think Moana is a stronger character than Belle. I don't think Belle is
don't spoil that.
I won't spoil it for you. Yeah.
Because I'm seeing it on Tuesday.
My general point is though, I don't think the strength of this movie is its characters. I didn't particularly ever care about Belle or the Beast.
I mean, it's very caught in time. Like at the time it came out, it would, obviously people would have considered that like their version of the sort of Merida or Elsa. Because it was the early 90s.
Yeah. And I think this is also true of me with other older Disney films. Like I don't really care about Ariel or whatever, like it's Disney, classic Disney movies have very light characterization. So that's not the point, but this movie never hangs its hat on its characters. Like it's not really about that. It's just like the surrounding, usage of them, I guess, like, the themes and like, the music and visuals and how it all intertwines. I guess
I feel like this is the most characters, like, like sort of like character actor characters of any Disney film, if you think about it.
What do you mean character actor characters?
Well, like you've got like obviously sidekicks and that sort of thing, but I think there's a ton of sort of those like you got LeFou, you've got all the appliances.
Yeah, all of the the whatever you want to call them, the humans trapped as things. Like it's like a Disney animal sidekick, but there's so many of them in this movie.
Yeah. It's like you had a flounder and a couple in Little Mermaid, and you had the mice stuff. Like there's just a ton of background characters, I feel like, in this. Yeah,
and I think they're all kind of used okay. I say my least favorite is the child teacup.
Chip is his name, first of all.
What's his name? Chip? Okay.
Chip.
Yeah,
I have him next to me.
Chip is very sympathetic.
Why is your least favorite not Gaston?
I said of the
appliances.
appliances, yeah.
Okay, never
Also,
mind.
Gaston's obviously my favorite
I
character
have
'cause
the
he's
Mrs.
best, but-
Potts pop figure, and she
Oh,
comes
God,
with
you
a little
do.
chip.
Chip,
It's
I
actually
don't-
really adorable.
I think Chip's adorable. I just don't know why he's used like he is. Like he's such a prominent thing. Like I'm like, why is Chip doing this? That's
Yeah, he's like
Oh,
Bell's
like,
best
as a-
friend or something. Also, he like doesn't make sense. Like, I guess maybe the idea is that they don't age. Like they're like,
yeah, like
Or
because
she like got it on with like a kettle or something.
oh my god. Well, okay, but then the other thing too is that when he goes to bed that one night in the cupboard, she's like, "All right, in with your brothers and
yeah.
sisters."
What are they
Oh
all
my God,
human
yeah.
too? What's up with that?
And then they never show up
Yeah.
ever again.
Yeah, and then they never show up again.
I don't think they're intended to be human, but they all have like faces. I think.
Yeah, and
What's up with that? Like,
It's so
She
weird.
just
That's
had
so
a lot of
horrifying.
kids. The husband's
I don't
nowhere to
think.
be
Yeah, I think
found.
it was. I think it was. He's supposed to be the only kid, but that's so weird.
Yeah. Well, he's the only one at the end for sure.
He's
I
the
don't
only
know
one
what
with
happened
eight
to all
and the
those
only
other
one
kids.
who has lines.
Yeah. We'll get into all of the minor ones.
So, like, the fact that he's chipped, like, does that have repercussions as a human? Like, is he missing an
Is that-
arm?
You saying he's brain damaged or something?
Oh my god.
oh my
I didn't
God.
think about it. Like, if
Okay.
they broke.
We're going
as
to talk
a-
about that. Yeah. Well,
This is getting like really existential.
let's save it. Let's save it. I feel like this is more of a second half of the podcast discussion than. Anyway, yeah, no, I liked it. That was remembered to say. I think the most impressive thing that this movie does is it has this like, kind of stupid in the idea of like this, just the whole concept of like him as the beast and then like love and then it turns him human and just this, it's just, to me, it's so unappealing as a concept and yet like it executes it and I did, like it. So I feel like that impressed me a lot. Like it executed enough that I enjoyed, the transition, but just, just conceptually, it's, I don't know, not, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about
Dylan's
it.
cold-hearted.
I don't know if it's cold hearted. I feel like I'm like hyper feminist coming into this, trying to examine this movie, and it's like, what even is this concept? Like the beast turning human, love, like, I don't know. I think there's some qualms to be had, but anyway, I think when I don't know to start with, Mel, and there's not necessarily going to be a good answer to this question, but like, why is this your fave? Like, is it just that it is your fave? Because some things persist throughout our lives that are like important to us, or is it like, did you connect to certain aspects of it?
I think it's more that it just is my fave, and I honestly feel like a big part of that has to do with, as weird as it sounds, is the music, because I connect very, like, I am huge on like musical scores and things. So like when you've got kind of like a thematic connection between the music and then like what the story is trying to say, like for me, that's just like a weird sort of anger that I get. Like to me, like this movie is the music and the music is the movie. That being said, like I always, really liked Belle because she was like a reader and that was like a big thing in 1991 or whatever. Yeah. And she was like brunette, so I was like, oh, like I could go as Belle for Halloween because she looks like me and she reads a lot and it's cool. And it was like a combination of certain things where it's like, oh yeah, like like the favorite Disney princess and just kind of weird things you latch onto, and then like basically this weird sort of like paradox where it's like it's my fave because it's my fave.
Yeah. No, like that's what I was getting into. Like certain things just like are our faves, so yeah. I understand that. But going back to Belle for a second, I was kind of like knocking her in the beginning. I do think, given the context of the time of this movie, Belle's like a super feminist character. Like compare her to the other Disney princesses. Like her whole thing is that she reads and she doesn't care about the macho guy. Like that's great,
White male crisis of the 90s. I wrote an entire paper about how Fight Club and Beauty and the Beast were making the same exact point.
Yeah, that's a potential discussion point. Do we want to get into Gaston? Okay, let's talk about Gaston and get into that. Okay, let's talk about So Gaston is now turned into this meme. No.
Oh my god.
He's kind of the best. Like he's obviously
I can't hate him.
He's obviously awful, but the movie is aware of how stupid he is, and like he's just like kind of this doofy villain, and he's never really a threat. And I think he's kind of fabulous, actually. Like this character, I feel like this is like a good idea. Like he's just
Brilliant.
he's just such an idiot. I kind of love it because it really is making fun of like hypermasculinity, and I don't think that in the early '90s they're aware of what they're doing, but he's like a take on like the toxic masculine villain, and I think it's kind of great.
I feel like just listening to this is going to make me change my opinion on the movie, and it's going to be my new favorite.
That's the goal, bro.
Yeah, that's the goal here.
Yeah, I wrote a paper in college in my film class. It was actually my final paper, basically. It was basically the sort of anchor of the paper was getting to the point that Beauty and the Beast was kind of, for Disney, like one of its big pivot points, and that it was making the same statements that like a film like Fight Club made, and Shaun of the Dead even too, like this idea of, because they had this thing in the 90s called the white male crisis, right? That's like, you can look that up, TM, white male crisis.
Yeah.
And basically it was after a surge of women enter the workforce, and kind of gender roles are really obviously starting to disappear from what they were stereotypically like for the longest time. So you had these aforementioned white males having a crisis where they didn't know what they were supposed to do, because they think, okay, they're raised kind of to be hypermasculine and breadwinners, but the world doesn't reflect that anymore because of the changing roles of women in society. So you've got something like Fight Club, where crazy Ed Norton engages in this, Fight Club, this thing where they, like, these guys get together and literally just beat each other up to have like this testosterone thing going. And that's like what Gaston represents, is like the traditional Disney hero. Like in any other film, he would be kind of like the prince-like character, as this hyper masculine hunting dude. He's got that chest hair in that one scene, and he eats all those eggs, and he's just like the epitome, to the point where it's like over the top, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's like the epitome of masculinity and what men are supposed to be. And he's so stupid and can't like grasp, this situation where you've got Belle, who, is kind of subversive of gender roles, even though she's the only one. Like, it's not a society-wide thing because it's like 18th century France, but like you've got a micro version of what was going on in the 90s for gender roles happening in this film.
Yeah. And quickly for clarification, Mel's talking about Fight Club as in like the actual interpretation of Fight Club, and not like the reclaimed for sexist bros like version of Fight Club, right? Like, because Fight Club,
Fight Club is meant to be like a parody of itself.
It is. Fight Club's actually this like take on this feminist take on toxic male culture and stuff like that. But people,
I did not know. There are so many things I'm learning. Jesus.
But that's good.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, but these bros like interpret it as like they don't understand the double meaning, so they interpret it on face value.
Fight Club is essentially making fun of them, like what they would to take out of Fight Club.
So it's a really interesting comparison, because that is kind of just what Gaston is doing, but in a more overt way. Yeah. How do you think he functions?
Some might say a more cartoony way.
He's very much a cartoony character. Yeah. How do you think of his?
He's very much a cartoon.
He is very much a cartoon. I'd say that. How do you think of his function in the movie? Because I think there's a version of this movie that definitely functions without him. There's parts that seem like
he very much fulfills a type for Disney, because they need to have like this movie, had it been something other than Disney, or maybe produced 20 years later, now that Disney is kind of branching out with how it does narratives, this movie probably could have functioned on its own with its own environmental factors as the antagonist. Like you've got with the build-up with, the curse and the beast and his and Belle's story, that probably could function entirely on its own, as its own story. But because this is Disney, you have to add in like this...
and if you look in
this villain factor.
And if you look in the Wikipedia writing history, they even say like he was kind of added in a later draft of the writing process, which is pretty interesting. Actually, I think I think he's good for the movie. Like, I think he's like an active positive. I don't know if that's a hot take.
What I find interesting too is that because Belle that story is so very far removed from the world that you set up in the first couple minutes of the movie, and then she goes off the castle, and then that's where a lot of the story takes place. Like, I think they very flawlessly kind of weave in Gaston in the background, just kind of as this, like somewhat threatening figure in the background for the middle part of the movie. And then it kind of sets up really nice at the end for like the third act and the Kill the Beast stuff. Like, I think that the way they function to have like the world outside and then Belle and the Beast stuff and the way they sort of interweave in the middle of the movie was well done.
Yeah, no, I talked about this. What's so impressive is that Gaston is just like, it's like the B plot. And then, once we hit a certain point, it's like everything happens. Like she goes back, like he comes and like they have this whole scene and it's Kill the Beast and it's just integrated so well. Like Disney films, these classic Disney films, narrative isn't necessarily like the strong point of them. And, I was kind of shocked at the second half of this movie, how seamless the narrative is to a point where it's a major strength of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that Gaston's his function is certainly very good in there.
Yeah.
Allie, what's your take on Gaston?
I mean, I didn't really have much of an opinion on him until I just listened to all of that. I mean, I kind of thought he was just one of those villains that's like, he's there, but he's like ridiculous and you kind of forget about him. Like, I mean, that's why he wasn't really like, you know how like when people go down the list of like favorite Disney villains, like Scar is like at the top of the list or something.
Yeah, he's not a very charismatic sort of.
Yeah, but like just hearing that, I'm like, people say Scar because like he killed his brother, but like when you think about it, Gaston has done some messed up stuff too. Like, I mean, in that, when you think about it that way, like, I mean, and I didn't, and I'm annoyed with myself that I didn't, but yeah, he's up there now. I never hated him, but he wasn't one of my favorites, like as a kid anyway, and now I think I've changed my mind.
I do like him as a meme now.
The meme is always it's every time.
It's good.
No one vlogs like Gaston.
It's good. Let's talk. I want to go in reverse importance. Let's talk about It's like a feature writing. Anyway, I want to talk about the ballroom scene because that's such a highlight and it's super interesting.
Yes.
It's like the most iconic one.
It's super iconic. Movie, probably. The music, the quote unquote camera work. What's your, take on it, Mel, in general?
I think it is one of the greatest scenes, if not the greatest scene, like rendered in animation, personally. From a technical standpoint and just a sort of thematical standpoint and the way everything came together, like story-wise, music-wise, visual-wise, like, and it's so short too. It's like 1 minute and 30 seconds. And it's like one of the most iconic scenes, I would say, even in film history.
I would agree on that, actually.
Yeah, that's just something people know is the ballroom scene from Beauty and the Beast. And, looking even at the history of the ballroom scene is so interesting because this is technically the first Pixar Disney film was Beauty and the Beast, because Pixar collaborated with them to render the scene in a 3D environment. So the ballroom is 3D while these 2D characters are in it, and that allows you to have these crane shots in the middle of an animated film. And they weren't sure it was going to work, and they had like this weird backup plan that they were just going to have them, they called it the Ice Capades version, where they were just going to be like in a spotlight and the background was going to be black, and that would have looked like so I'm really glad that this worked. But yeah, it's like the scene I feel like just completely speaks for itself, even without me dropping all my techie trivia about it. Like, it's just...
I was reading up on it. Pixar's CAPS system they use for this. Yeah. So the background CGI and the foreground kind of hand-drawn 2D. And it ends up being the perfect use for that system because it allows them to do these kind of sweeping shots. And really just, I don't know, for me, what's so notable about this is kind of the storyboarding on the scene. And it's more complicated than storyboarding because you also have the CGI background going on and it's kind of this whole thing. But, just the quote unquote camera angles used, are so like iconic and, just for them to have the foresight to take, I feel like for them to have the foresight to take themselves so seriously in this moment, because it's just like the scene, it's almost like they know this is this iconic scene. And like, how do you have the confidence to go for it like they do with these like wide shots and this like, them dancing and focused on the background and sweeping around. It's so poised, I feel like, the direction on here. And it really just, it all comes together so well with this. Yeah, really. With Miss Potts singing and,
Angela,
the tea kettle sings, justifies this character's entire presence. And, but what about the song version, the song on this? Is this the most iconic song from Beauty and the Beast? Is this the best song in the film?
Beauty, like the song Beauty and the Beast? I would say so, yes, for sure.
What's your history with
the tune? I mean, I love that too. Like, the da 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 da. Like, that's like I can hear that. Like, how there's like Cocktail Party Phenomenon and people will like hear their name across the room. I can pick that song out like in a 2-mile radius. Somebody's watching Beauty and the Beast and I hear that and my like head snaps. That is like a huge thing for me, is that like Alan Menken is so good at creating these really great motifs that you associate with the like embodiment of the entire film. Like for Little Mermaid, it was the repetition of part of your world throughout the movie. For this, it's the repetition of the Beauty and the Beast theme and the way it's used in like the score and the transformation scene and stuff. And it's such a short song too. I mean, again, it's like a 1minute and 20-second song. I think Howard Ashman's lyrics on this are also like, and lyrics throughout all like the Disney films he worked on, Little Mermaid and Aladdin and stuff, like his lyrics are just very incredible. And to watch some of the work tapes where he like does demos of it, is really, really cool.
Yeah. It's a good point. Or I don't know, something you said was related to this, but, it's really integrated well too within kind of just the surroundings, right? It's like so short and it's got the build up to it with their like, they don't even like talk about it like verbally what they're setting up, but it's like they're going on this like date, I guess. And,
there's like no.
Yeah.
They're suddenly having a date. It's
been decided, that they're going on this date, and
there is kind of, if you watch the extra scene with the extra song, there's like somewhat of a setup, but there isn't really.
But and then it ties.
He asks her to dinner.
Yeah. They did that earlier too, and it's.
I prefer the version with no context because it's funny.
I think it works though without. I think it's fine because then it flows really well and it's paced really well, and then it goes right into the Kill the Beast type stuff after and everything with that.
After that, the movie like really speeds up.
Yeah, no, I think it's just it speeds up, but I also think it keeps track of everything so well and it executes on it really well. I also feel like this scene and this song just kind of like justify this a little bit of an absurd premise. In that it kind of treats itself like a fairy tale. Like the beginning of the movie does this too, but it's like, why is he even this beast? And like, what are they even doing here? And it's like, oh, this is like kind of told from a looking back perspective to a certain extent. Like it's the tale of them and stuff like that. I don't think there's like a super logical, thing that they're doing. I just think the tone they hit with this it works really well given just kind of this concept.
I think it goes back to what you said. It's like they took themselves extremely seriously and the story very seriously in rendering this scene, and I think that's kind of like what anchors the entire sort of like, if you are going to buy this story or not, like hinges upon this ballroom scene.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, it's so vital. I want to let's talk about Be Our Guest, and then you talk about Belle and the Beast. But
I was a plate in Be Our Guest in high school. Allie saw.
God, you were, weren't you?
Did you? Yeah, you
lines? Were there.
Did you have lines as a plate?
Not as a plate, as a villager. I did.
Oh, your multiple roles. Wow,
that's impressive. I was very versatile.
Yeah. We have to see pics of Mel as a plate. We got to find that.
I don't know if there's pics of Mel as a plate, but there's definitely pics of me as a villager.
We have to find
and I was a villager in drag because we ran out of girl villager costumes, so I had to throw on one of the guy costumes.
Is it dangerous?
Was that me?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
you don't remember, but I do. That's kind of sad.
I had an axe too, didn't I? They gave me an axe.
Wow.
That was
we have to see this. We have to see it.
There's a video of it somewhere on the internet.
Unearth the video. Listeners unearth it. Yeah. Anyway. I think Be Our Guest is really great. I definitely remembered it beforehand, but Be Our Guest, like, I also think Be Our Guest, like, justifies the stupid appliances throughout the movie. Like, I don't know if the rest of the movie.
And it was funny too. That was a late addition too. Originally, they weren't going to have any of these like servant characters.
Yeah.
Like it was just going to be like animate objects that were just animate objects with no personalities. They just kind of, it was like a magic castle. And then like halfway through production, they're like, what if they like all like had personalities and a backstory? So
yeah,
then they did that.
Yeah, which is kind of a stupid concept, but I really do think this scene justifies it. The song,
yeah,
it's a good showcase for all of them. Visually, it's so distinctive and so interesting. So many parts of it. They really just go all out. They just throw everything in there, and I think it's really successful.
Very visually stimulating.
Yeah, I agree, and also it's just a good song too. I think that would be the only comparison for best song, the only competitor.
Yeah, I think that and Beauty and the song Beauty and the Beast were the two that were nominated for the Oscar.
Yeah. So the two most memorable ones for sure.
Yeah.
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 Let's talk about Belle and the Beast, because there's no reason that they would fall in love or anything like that.
Didn't you see them playing together in the snow? That's where it starts.
That's right.
I know that because they purposely color-coded Belle to show her like warming up literally to the Beast, because her clothes get warmer and warmer.
Yeah, I think it's around that time is when I start buying it. They do a good job of building it up a little bit, but the stupid part is that like, why is she his prisoner, and why does he have to like release her, and like, why does she find this acceptable? Like, what
am I watching?
Like, what is this? Like, she walked out, and yet she like goes out and comes back, and then so obviously she physically can leave, but then him releasing her is this big deal. Even though she's left before. So it's like, I can go? You're letting me go? You're such a good guy. Wow. Like,
there's really nothing keeping her in the castle, especially after he's like nice to her to the point where it's like the library happens. It's like, okay, there's nothing keeping you here. Like,
she could have walked out the front door at any time.
Literally, like even before that, you could have literally the dude spends like 23 hours a day in his like bedroom sulking. Like there's nothing stopping you from walking out the door.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's like the infuriating part is that she just finds, like I alluded to, she finds it like good of him to release her. I feel like that's
the Stockholm syndrome.
I feel like this movie is true or false. This movie is intentionally portraying Stockholm syndrome.
I can relate
to it depends on how you want to look at Stockholm syndrome, because Stockholm syndrome is kind of a form of PTSD. Like in the clinical sense, no, but in the thematic sense of like possibly pseudo abusive relationships and that sort of thing, maybe.
It's so abusive, this relationship. I don't think this movie is super aware of what it's doing with that.
No,
I don't.
And that's a pitfall, and all of that is a pitfall of the original fairy tale as well, because in the original fairy tale, there's again nothing is keeping her in the castle, and then when she does leave, the thing that makes her go back is that the Beast like literally just like gives up and is dying because he's so sad, and she's like, oh no, and she goes back. There's nothing.
But yeah, regardless, thoughts on this grand romance, Mel, between Belle and the Beast? How do you think it's executed in the film?
There's a couple different lenses you can look at it. I mean, obviously from a societal, social lens, it's not the best story. Or at least it's not saying the best things, but from a pure sort of story narrative, I, like the way it flows. I like the way it's written. But it's hard for me to separate content with interpretation, if that makes sense. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I loved it as a kid. Now, I still really like it, but I'm also like aware that it kind of leaves a bad taste in the mouth.
Yeah, I mean, if possible, we can try to analyze it ignoring the captive aspect of it, Yeah,
without that, I think it's employed very well. I do think, though I don't care about that song, I do think the addition of the Human Again scene does add a little bit more of a dynamic that's believable to them like falling in love, because you really don't have very many scenes like once she comes back and they have their TV tropes, intimate healing
Is that the one when they're
Yeah.
the snow scene? Is that included in the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that would be
It's like
yeah,
around
but
then,
that's when
right?
they like yeah, and they have like their snowball fights
Yeah,
and
that's all really good.
but then after that, it's the ballroom scene, and you're like, okay, like thematically, like romantically, like musically, I get it, I'm buying it because this is what the emotions of the film are telling me to feel. But if you look at actual content, there's obviously a lot of scenes we don't see that would kind of justify their relationship a little bit better. Um, One of them being the scene in Human Again where they're in the library and she's reading to him because he for some reason like can't read. He's 21 years old and can't read. He like forgot how to read. So she teaches him to read, and that's like when he asks her to dinner too.
Yeah. I noted this the teaching to read scene. I really like that one. With this incredible dialogue of toi. It's two. I knew that. Like I want to like his read on I knew that is so great. I love that. It's like so stupid. I would add that to if we had a soundboard, that would be totally awesome. Like I knew that. I knew that. Because all of his lines are so distorted as the beast. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but and which is why when he does have his little moment of singing, like it's so strange. Like it doesn't. It's like there's such a disconnect between Beast voice and the singing voice of Robbie. What's his name? But yeah, I mean, like it's more of a thematic, emotional story than it is like you logically see the content of how and why they develop these feelings. And it's one of those things where you buy it. And I think you buy it because of the ballroom scene. Without that, the relationship and the way it's portrayed probably would not make much impact.
Yeah, I think there's build up to the ballroom scene. Like, I think, like, I feel like for me, it's like, do I buy the ballroom scene? Like, at the end, it's really just, do I buy them as a whole? And the ballroom scene's crucial. But, like, right before the ballroom scene, it's like, okay, are they at a point where they're, like, this into each other? And I think that that's pretty important. And I think the movie has enough content there with them. Like, there's not a ton, but I do think there's some good stuff there. I think one of my favorite scenes is the one where, after he saves her from the wolves, I guess, and then they like have this back and forth with like, well, if you didn't do this, then like we would we'd have been okay. And then like they try to trace the origins of the problems there. And I think that just does a really good job of kind of showcasing why they might be compatible. Like I feel like I bought it there more than ever. They're just both very headstrong people.
They both want to blame the other.
Yeah, like I just feel like that's such a well executed scene in that.
Yeah,
it gets me to actually think that these two as a thing makes sense. What do you think, Allie? Do you buy this romance between the two of them? Are you into it?
Sure.
Sure. Yes.
Why not?
Sound very sure.
Allie very enthusiastic about.
I don't really know how to feel about the Stockholm Syndrome thing since I like can kind of relate to it now, so I don't know how to feel about it right now. At the moment.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to separate this context from it, this larger context.
Yeah.
Well, no. I'm not separating the context. I mean, I never hated it growing up. It's probably definitely one of the more interesting ones they've done, and it's up there for one of my favorites. But other than that, I don't really have an opinion. Like it's fine. I think. It has its controversy, but I would say it's all right as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still kind of superficial. I mean, his big romantic gesture is he takes her to the library, which like Lumiere was already about to do. Like, oh wow, she likes books.
Lumiere didn't do it.
Yeah, I guess he didn't end up doing it, but like wow, she likes books. The library. Oh my god, he's so romantic. Like wow,
Also, it wasn't even his idea.
It's not even his idea. Yeah, like he's treated as like this great. Anyway, that's a little annoying, but yeah. I mean, I still think it's kind of superficial.
Actually, it was funny too. In one of the commentaries, the one director was like, "I'm willing to buy like everything about this movie except that there is a library that large with that many books."
Seems too big. Yeah. What is the context of this castle even? Like they kind of hit on it in the beginning, but like it's just no one around them anymore. It's just in the middle of nowhere.
It's just in the middle of the forest in France.
Weird. Yeah. Yeah. It's so. Oh, okay. I want to talk about the Beast. So why is he a thing? Like, what is up with this character? I feel like he's not much of a person.
He didn't let that chick in.
He didn't let the chick in.
Mess with the wrong lady.
So he's supposed to be a jerk because he didn't let her in, and so he cursed him and the entire castle. But now he's a good person now, but he wasn't before.
Well, and it's interesting because like the idea is that like, oh, he becomes more and more like beastly the longer the curse goes on, and like the idea is that if it hadn't been broken, he would have just like turned into like a feral animal. But I was like, well, I feel like the opposite of what we want to achieve in terms of the lesson learning. If we are in fact teaching him a lesson by cursing him. Also, depending on how this works, like whether it's, you know, time caught in stasis or what have you, or if it's actually 10 years have passed. This kid was like 11 when he got cursed. Because he's like,
apparently Belle is like what? How old's Belle? Like 15 or something? Or she might be slightly
18.
older. It's supposed to be him before he turns 18, right? So
21.
Is it 21?
Yeah, he can turn up.
Turn up, yeah. Oh,
him and Elsa.
Yeah, that would have been better. Yeah. But yeah, they're all like it seems much younger, and like they specifically cast like someone older as Belle to make her sound older, but they're still kids. So
yeah, what's her face?
Yeah, what's her exactly?
O'Hara.
There we go. Yeah.
O'Hara.
Yeah. Let's talk. I don't know. There's a lot. Oh yeah. So what do you think of the Beast, Mel? Do you think like he's an interesting character? Do you think he's kind of just there, or do you think he like stands out at all in the movie?
I think it's, you know, it's surprising that he does become. He's more of a character as the Beast than he is as the Prince at the end. Like I think that's kind of a point where he becomes very bland. It's like, oh, that's cool. I think the Beast himself is an interesting character, just because he goes through. I think it's more his story than Belle's story, honestly, because she doesn't really go through any sort of monumental change at all. He's the one who kind of has the arc, the character arc, and she's just kind of a cog in it, I feel like, because there's really nothing about her that's changed, even though like she's got that line where she's like, oh, like I'm seeing the world different. It's like, well, you're not. So I in terms of a Disney male protagonist, I think he is one of the better ones of the time period that the movie came out in, because it was kind of the first time where the prince character was not a like cardboard cutout of a prince that was kind of just there as a stock character. And I like the way that he and Belle play off of each other. Like you said, like that scene where they're both trying to like assign like blame for the wolf scene. Like they very much have like it's the first time I feel like animated characters in a Disney film actually had like chemistry, which is like a weird thing to say because obviously it's animation, they're drawings, but I think you can really see it in this film and the way they interact and the way they kind of just like totally like have this back and like fights with each other constantly before, you know, they like fall in love. So in that regard, I think he's one of the more dynamic male characters in a Disney film up until that point. Obviously, since then we've gotten broader.
Yeah, I agree. Given the time, he's definitely like a good Disney prince, like a super well-developed one. Looking back in general in the movie, he doesn't incredibly stand out, but yeah, I agree. Also, like as the Beast, he's much better. It like invokes this post. Like it's the comic or a Tumblr post or something. He changes and it's like she's like change back. Like yeah. I don't know if that's a commentary on him being a bland prince or his character model as a human being weird, kind of weird looking. Being weird is
all get out.
Yeah.
It's very strange to look at when he turns around. It's actually like pseudo scary.
Yeah. Definitely. What's the moral of him turning human at the end? Like, is that a good moral to impart? I'm not sure.
I mean, obviously the original theme of this story is very outdated. Because it was basically a way to teach women to chillax with their arranged marriage situation, since it would often be to an older man that they like didn't like, and it's like, oh, you can like learn to love him. So it's like, that's not a thing. No. That being said, now, it's, I don't think it is. I mean, obviously the human thing is there because we can't end this on a bestiality note. Like, he had to turn back.
Yeah, but why not though? Why not? Why couldn't we end it there? That'd be great. He accepts his new self, and she accepts him for who he is, and then that's the better ending. Yeah,
the idea is just, I guess, that, you with, her falling in love with him, it's that she saw, like, the person, not even Prince or Prince Charming or anything like that, just the person underneath, all the outer stuff. So his reward, I guess, or her reward, actually that's what it was in the original story. It was her reward for being able to see through that, was that she was then given the person that she saw him being underneath, all the gruff beastliness. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think
it's a metaphor.
Yeah, I don't know if they're in there going for anything specific with the.
No, I think it's just kind of the transformative power of love.
Around it. Allie, you like the Beast? Thoughts on the Beast?
I love him. I prefer him over Adam. Honestly,
change back.
Which form?
I don't know, because he's like a change back.
Yeah. Do you think he should change back? Is that your reaction?
Yes.
Why do you like him though?
I think
change back. LA 2016. Why do I like him? For the reasons you guys gave. I don't know. You guys are like just saying like everything.
Big old teddy bear.
He is. I was gonna say he's just so huggable.
He does have fur and stuff. Yeah, that's true.
Best boyfriend ever. Literally going with him all winter.
There you go.
Oh God.
Change back. Yeah, there you go. That's what that is.
God, is this what I'm here for?
Yes, that's
change
what I was
back.
here
It's sold out.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, we don't need heat. Like, just transform back.
There was apparently supposed to be a line at the end where she like says to him, she's like, "Do you think you should grow a beard?" And they decided to take it out. They're like, "That's kind of..."
That would have been so good if they had that. That's really funny, actually. Like, she's like buyer's remorse on the change back. Like, what about a beard? Yeah, that'd been.
She's
really
like,
good.
"Wait."
Yeah.
Take backsies.
Yeah. Let's run through some of the characters we haven't talked too much about. Let's start with Maurice, the dad.
Yeah.
What do you think of him, Mel?
I mean, he's like
crazy
the typical Disney dad.
Maurice.
Yes, crazy old Maurice. Eh? He's like the typical Disney dad.
Oh, Canada.
He's like this little dude. Yeah. He like does that. He has a fun, like, it's interesting, I guess, what they went for, where he was like a crazy inventor. Like, of course, Belle's dad would be a crazy inventor. Like, that just makes sense in my mind. And it's interesting because it's not even like he actually continually like shows up as like a plot device in the movie. Like, I feel like Disney dads usually like serve one sort of purpose and then kind of hang out until the end of the movie when, like in Little Mermaid, like her dad got puffy and, blew up all her stuff. And, that was kind of his function. And then he kind of went away for the majority of the rest of the movie. Whereas here, it's like you have Maurice being the catalyst for why Belle and the Beast met. And then Gaston decides to try and use him to like manipulate Belle. So like he still is showing up as like this sort of plot device that is forcing Belle's hand in various ways. So I think that's interesting. Like, he doesn't go away.
Yeah. He's kind of there though. I don't know. I didn't take too much away from him. He's I don't know. He's fine. He's nice, I guess.
Yeah.
I do like that he's like
he's nice, I guess. Are we trying to like rate him for a dating site or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and there's OkCupid, we'd be like, yeah, he's a cool.
Yeah. I like the concept of like promoting like technology and invention, I guess. In like that was kind
with his like completely over
with a stupid machine, really stupid woodcutting machine. Like, why? This is not a good idea. But yeah.
What are those machines that run on basically kinetic energy? Like you knock a domino over, and they like do something really stupidly mundane, like pick up a cup, like at the end. I forget what they're called. That's basically what that is.
Yeah. starts with that.
Yeah.
Rube Goldberg. Rube Goldberg, I think. There you go. Lumiere.
Yes.
I like Lumiere.
I do. I actually do.
I like Lumiere much better than Cogsworth.
Oh, yeah.
Although their dynamic is pretty good.
I guess it's good. Yeah, I don't know what the point of Cogsworth is.
To be his foil, probably.
David Ogden Stiers is in like every Disney movie is the point of Cogsworth.
Yeah. You know who sucks is the broom. What's her name? I don't even know.
Oh, the French broom?
Yeah.
The one played by what's her face?
Does she have a name even?
Yeah,
Babette is her name.
Oh.
And I know that because she was named in the play.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. She wasn't. Yeah, it says Wikipedia says she wasn't named in the movie, but yeah, the Feather Duster. Yeah, that character sucked. But
why?
No, they didn't give any depth. They didn't even try to give any depth. Yeah, she didn't try to give any depth there. She was just the piece for
the promiscuous.
Lumiere. Yeah,
for
the
and then like later
benefits.
Yeah, there you go.
Boy, not in my castle.
Not in my castle. Yeah. Need stricter morals. Yeah, come on, watch over your stupid appliances. Beast. Come on.
Like getting frisky.
Yeah, like no oversight here. Bad employer. That's what I would say. I'm a fan of Lumiere though.
Or maybe he's just the coolest employer. He doesn't care. He's just you guys.
So. I guess so. Yeah.
You ever think of that? Come on,
That's
guys.
true. That's true. You need to loosen up here a little bit, says Allie. Yeah. What about Miss Potts? We talked about her. The song is great.
She's the mom. They're even, I guess, the grandmom character.
Yeah. And then we talked about Chip. We need to talk about LeFou. He's the worst. He's the worst.
G. Gaston. Yeah, he serves absolutely no purpose.
G. Gaston. Yeah, like, what is, yeah.
Like, we don't need his hype man. We get it.
Yeah, I think he works well by the same token that Gaston works well, like as kind of this parody character, yeah. But
I don't even know what he's like he's literally.
Well, if you want to get into it, you could say that he's like how, males who don't even represent this like physical specimen idea still are destructive in that they play into it and like worshiping other ones who are like that. Like,
and
it's
are kind of like those little fish
that
swim with the sharks.
Yeah, it's
like on the underside of their fins to protect themselves from.
It's like he's not rejecting the culture. He's embracing it by worshiping Gaston. Like Whereas,
whatever the name of those little fish are that hang on the fins of.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, dude, Allie, you're impressed by my level of
analysis. I'm having an existential crisis between the two of you about this movie.
Dude, Mel and I get deep at this. Yeah, you gotta analyze these films that are not meant to be analyzed this deep.
Yeah, no, like it's literally like everything you ever pulled out of your English class. You have to use the word juxtaposition at least once.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Gaston it's intended, but I don't think they would understand what we're talking about. But I think that they kind of intend it that way. Whereas the stuff with the main story is whatever, but they didn't really, they knew that, I think. Anyway, I think that's all the characters. The horse, Philippe.
Oh, Philippe is the best.
Are there like Philippe plushes and stuff? I feel like there probably are.
Probably.
Not that I know of.
There should be. I feel like Philippe is the main thing that's wrong with this movie. Why don't you just turn around? Don't have to obey Crazy Maurice. Just, you're going the wrong way, Philippe. So just go the other way.
You've got all the power in this scene.
Yeah, Philippe, God, just pull out your map.
None of this would have happened, and we could have just got on with our lives.
I love how there's a long-standing tradition of Disney horse characters.
Yeah,
that's
what is that about?
But the fact that they always seem to make them like dogs for some reason,
there's
just weirds me out.
The one from Sleeping Beauty, there's Philippe, there's Angus from Brave, there's the one from Tangled, Max from Tangled, right? Maximus?
Yeah, there's a lot of other horses I feel like too.
There's Sven, I feel like counts.
Sven is a horse, a winter horse.
Winter horse. He is the snow horse. Yeah, Disney's got an equine thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, okay, that's all the characters. Any songs you want to point out, Mel, that we haven't talked about? We talked about the major ones. There's Bella's song in the beginning.
And there's the
fluff
like songs, like Something There. Although I do like Kill the Beast, and I love the Macbeth reference in it.
Yeah.
The what reference in it?
Macbeth. Screw your cursed
Yeah.
sticking place.
Oh,
and
I like.
this song...
Do you what?
No, go for it.
No, I was going to talk about something else.
Oh, well, it was just I've always enjoyed the mob song.
The mob song? Okay.
Yeah.
I was, it reminded me of this. The appliances genuinely just defeat these humans with weapons, like in an actual battle.
Yes.
Like,
what's your
up with
question?
That? My question is realism. That's, why is this?
Well, even think about it. If you don't know to expect, like, a lamp to, like, shank you, like...
That's...
And like a giant like dresser falls on them and what? I mean, think about it. Like
her. We need to talk about her.
Turned on you in your house.
Oh yeah,
you're screwed.
She's like the best character too.
What's the dresser's name? Yeah.
Madam. Oh shit.
They have names.
Madam. Hey, what is her name?
Wait,
Madam de la Grande Bouche.
No, I'm editing all these. Yeah.
Me?
I'm bleeping all of these in the future.
I love it.
Oh my god, no. Keep it in.
God. No, it's not.
No, actually, bleeping is funnier, I feel like.
It is funnier, yeah. Sure. Why is she the best, Allie? Why is the
Madame de la Grande Bouche is her name.
Is she not the best?
Mrs. She's the best.
I know.
Why is she the best?
She just is. Have you not seen the movie?
I've seen that she doesn't do anything. She
helps pick up her dress, I feel like. Or is
that she opens it, she has 3 dresses.
And she also, she gave a guy a makeover in the final battle. She kicked it.
Okay, that's true.
Am I allowed to say, you're gonna bleep that out?
No, I'm bleeping that too. Thanks, you're creating a lot of work for me. She's 3 dresses, they're like all really dusty, and then she's like, oh, go with this one, the middle one. That's her role in the movie. That's very, very good.
She's cool.
Fantastic, basically.
I guess she's cool. Okay, what,
Yes, Gaga.
Anything else, Mel, about Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah, Mel.
No. I mean, I would like to point out that despite the fact that, what was it? What Disney movie was recently nominated for Best Picture?
Toy Story 3.
Yeah. So before that, the only animated film ever to be nominated. And it's more of a feat that Beauty and the Beast did it, because this was back when there was only 5 movies in the category. It was nominated for Best Picture, and it lost to Silence of the Lambs. But that was like a huge deal.
Wow.
That a animated film was nominated for Best Picture.
Toy Story was nominated when there's 10, so it's different.
This is back when there was only 5 slots.
Yeah, definitely. This was treated seriously for some reason.
People took this movie very seriously.
Well, I'm not commenting on the film. I'm commenting on their taste. Like, why did they choose this one?
Well, and looking at it too, because it premiered at the New York Film Festival, I believe it was, and it premiered in a 70% finished work tape, which I have as well on DVD.
You really?
Yeah, shut up. And, where half of it was, or 70% of it was complete, and then the other 30% was storyboards and rough animation and test stuff. And they showed it, and it got a standing ovation at the film festival. And they were like, oh, this will probably be a good movie. People seem to like it. And then it kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is probably, I need to watch all of them. Probably would be the best Disney film. I mean, I'm partial to newer ones, but definitely among the 90s, I think this would be best. But still, is the difference between this and, it's another great one, Milan or something? Is it that much different, is my question. Why is this treated so much more? I think
it's just, if you compare it to something like Hercules or Milan or other films even, of this era, like Aladdin or Tarzan or something like that, I think it's just the way all the elements came together in Beauty and the Beast. Kind of there's just so much I think that fell into place. You can look at Mulan and say as a story, that's probably a better crafted story, and it's just a better subjective story for societal reasons, but it didn't really pack the same punch, maybe because it didn't have the sort of visual emotional anchor like the ballroom scene, or didn't have the emotional anchor in the music and that sort of thing. So I think with Beauty and the Beast, it was just a bunch of different components came together.
I agree it does come together better. Yeah, I think in terms of the overall critical discourse, I think it's interesting that they latch onto this. I think this is significantly better than something like, clearly something like Hercules. I
love Hercules.
I like Hercules, but I think that we're talking a different level of quality than this I am.
And what's interesting is the only other Disney film that that these directors worked on was Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's another one I haven't seen in forever, so I can't comment. But I think Lion King is something that's on a similar tier of quality to this.
Yeah.
I'd probably take this over Lion King, but I think it's like close enough.
I've never been a super huge fan of Lion King, but everyone...
Yeah, I mean, it's never been like my favorite movie, but I remember it being very good.
It's Hamlet with lions.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a fairy tale too, but yeah.
It's actually also like a Japanese movie, just Americanized.
Oh yeah, the what is it?
I don't remember what it's called, but it's like
or something. Kaigo the lion.
It's like about some white
Kimba.
Lion. Yeah, thank you. Kimba the white lion.
Kimba the white lion.
Basically,
Allie, parting Beauty and the Beast thoughts.
Oh, it's good.
It's good, yeah.
Good.
It's good, dude.
Would recommend.
Yeah,
11 out of 10 would recommend. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, it was like in the definitely top 5 of my favorite Disney movies, and now I think it might be number 1 after this discussion. I'm not gonna lie, because it was like number 2 right after The Little Mermaid, because I was just honestly I was biased to that movie.
Say you do love The Little Mermaid.
I'm biased to that movie because I was definitely in love with her as like a 5-year-old.
Whenever we do The Little Mermaid, we're gonna have an even deeper like sexism discussion with that.
Yeah,
one.
There's a lot.
Because
I don't even know deeper.
I'm still like, she's like my favorite still because I'm just biased. But like this movie, I think might be number 1 for me now for Disney.
To close things out, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I agree. Probably no. I have trouble comparing this to like Moana and like Frozen.
God, you
They're
just
so
saw
different.
One.
They're so different. Like Frozen to this, like it's just such a big difference being current. Like you can have so much better stuff now, like in terms of like narrative, even like the narrative awareness is so much higher. Anyway,
maybe in a modern day version of this film, it would have been like,
I wonder,
lesbians instead.
Yeah,
it's
it's possible this film would have like suffered if like they're more aware of what they're doing, because then you maybe don't get.
Well, they probably wouldn't have done it. I mean, if you tried to do it now, it probably would not fly.
Yeah, I agree. So I think like it's probably
like and it's like all classics in that way. Like you look at Gone with the Wind, like and that sort of thing. Like these iconic films with iconic scenes that are like totally by today's standards and what we know, not
okay.
Something you want to be.
I think they maybe could have done a version of this. Anyway, because the live action, that's the last thing I want to talk about, the live action version coming out.
Yes.
Why don't they make Adam a woman in the live action version?
I know.
Yeah, I know. So the trailer is out. My big reaction was, like, I went from watching that and I immediately pulled out. Oh, well, Emma Watson was incredible, but in the trailer. So I don't even need to see the movie to declare her performance.
Oh my god, yes you do.
No, I'm close. But my big reaction, I went from watching the movie immediately to watching the trailer. Like, literally, this looks like a shot-for-shot remake of the animated film. Like, every single film and every single scene in the trailer, I can easily identify as like, this is like they do like the hound, the wolf scene, like they do, they show the barroom scene for a second. Just seriously, I've never seen a remake that seems so close. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just think it's like, wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Especially because they're coming from the animated to live action.
Well,
I think it's a good thing that they're doing that.
With this, well, and I think with this movie, you can't not do that just because all the reasons we said. Like, there are so many iconic scenes and images in this movie. Like, it would not work if you tried to distance yourself from the source material.
Yeah.
I mean, even the poster that they used is a live action version of the same exact poster that was the teaser poster when the original film came out.
I remember you were also saying something about how they like have to, I mean, they don't have to like make it like verbatim like a remake, but like you were saying about the Cinderella movie, it was like it didn't get that.
The Cinderella movie tried to be its own story, and really
people went in expecting the Disney, so then they came out like, what?
Yeah, it like didn't. There was like no sticking power to it because it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the trailer visually looked good. Had thoughts on how the Beast looked? I think it's fine. I don't know. Obviously, the Beast is going to look weird in live action, like no matter what you do.
And they could have made him.
I mean, he looks like exactly how he.
They could have made him fluffier.
I mean, he looks more fluffy when he's animated. So, like, make him look fluffy. I don't know. I mean, he looks. I'm more concerned about the appliances, like how they're gonna look.
Apparently, the trailer beat 50 Shades of Grey for the record of most
Oh,
views
thank God.
in 24 hours.
Nice.
Thank God.
I will say,
Cool.
Chip looks terrifying.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
Chip looks so bad. What's with Chip? Oh my god.
He looks like possessed. I mean, he
Cogsworth
is,
looks
I guess.
okay. Like,
No, he does not.
I think
He loses-
Lumiere actually looks pretty cool.
Lumiere looks fine, but like everybody
Yeah.
else looks terrible. Honestly.
Chip though, oh my goodness, wow.
Mrs. Potts also looks awful.
The monster isn't as bad as you seem.
Yeah, oh yeah. They say I think also the dialogue looks the exact
Well,
same.
Stanley
I don't.
Tucci's going to be in this movie.
Is he
Yeah,
really?
yeah. He's
The
was he
maestro.
Lumiere or
No,
She's
he's
someone-
a character that I kind of comes from the that like mid-quel film that they did.
what I was gonna say, but yeah, no, I think it looks good. Oh yeah, the lines that terrible line I think is not exactly the same. So at least they're kind of changing the dialogue a little bit. But
What line are you talking?
there's like one line with he's not as terrible as he seems. I think that's not the same as but yeah.
Also, like the
I
jail
can
scene
see
isn't
Oh yeah, it's
entirely the
different.
same.
Yeah.
And he's like the castle is alive.
Yeah.
Josh Gad is LeFou is going to be annoying.
I'm really not excited for that, and I'm concerned about Ewan McGregor.
Gaston. Yeah. Emma Watson, I think she looks great as Belle.
she's perfect.
People are like, she looks too young, but Belle
10 out of 10 would
She
recommend.
doesn't look too young. I'm concerned about. I mean, not concerned, but I'm curious about her singing because they are singing in this, right?
Apparently, yeah. Paige O'Hara, though, the original voice of Belle, actually worked with her on
Oh, thank God.
her singing for this film.
Good. Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. So that's like in March, right?
Yes.
Yeah, not too long.
March 18th or something.
We'll see how that goes. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on any of this. Comments, YouTube
St.
comments.
Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is on Friday.
Celebrate. Wow, that's big news.
Oh God.
Big news there. So, YouTube comments, Tumblr, overlyanimated.com. Tell us what Disney classic we should do next. Should it be Little Mermaid? Yeah, should it? Maybe.
Could be The Little Mermaid.
I don't think I'm biased to that one anymore now, so this should be
Well,
interesting.
you will still be, though.
No, I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see what we do next. Consider supporting us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to our patrons, Mitch Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, Rachel, John, Ryan, Catherine Taylor, Devon, Jay, John, Fish, and Victoria, Katrin, AK, Free, Mitch, Grenade, Beach, James, and Philly, Buzz Liker, Mailman, Rich Rose, Jeremy, Brian, Cook, Needle, Diamond, Day, Jewel, Garfield, Fusion, Skylar, Patron, Katrin. Last comments.
Was
Allie,
any of
Mel.
that English? Oh my God.
Yes, Allie, last comments.
Hashtag Belle and Eve 5 ever. I don't know.
Belle and Eve.
Because Adam changed to a girl.
Oh.
Get it?
Oh, I see what you're saying, Adam, Eve.
It wasn't funny. I don't know. I like the movie, and now I don't know. I have to like go watch all the Disney movies and like existentially think about them, like with this one, and then rate them again.
Yeah, that's your new task, Allie.
That's what this podcast should be now.
Okay. Yep, Allie's existential rewatch. Mel, final thoughts.
Fave movie. Fave. 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Fave, yep.
Only 10 out of 10. That's
Let us know let Mel know if it is also your fave in the comments.
Yeah.
so then she can be your new best friend.
Or I can yell at you.
It. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. Listen. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Au revoir.
Bye.